Welcome. You are listening to Humans of Mitti Ke Rang. And today we are in conversation with Mr. Freddy Lozano from the United States of America. Mr. Lozano is a demand planning and supply chain planning professional. But in the last year, he had also taken a sabbatical from his work and traveled around the world. Tune in to know more about him and his journey so far. We get to the question.
Sure.
Awesome. So, before we get to the traveling part, Freddy, please could you tell us more about what you do as a career?
Yeah, so not many people are familiar with supply chain, but it kind of keeps it's one of the components for companies and the general economy to get product to consumers. And one of the elements in supply chain is like there's logistics, there's manufacturing, there's operations, and then there's planning. Planning encompasses production planning and demand planning. So demand planning is essentially forecasting for whatever product a company makes, and it can be a service as well. And as to what they're going to make into the future based on how they've performed in the past. So it requires a lot of collaboration and cross-functional conversations with different counterparts. So it's a growing field, and it's a value-add component in the service and production sectors of the economy. So I've been fortunate. I kind of just stumbled upon it, and I've been able to grow my career on it. So it's really it's amazing how much is involved in getting a juice product, a computer to a consumer's hands. And there's a lot of key components that go into it, and demand planning is one of them. So
Right.
yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Right. And initially, you said you were working in the food sector. And is that what you're doing right now as well, or as you said, with a new job?
Yeah. So previously, I was living in Australia, and I was working for a dairy company. So yogurts, cream, milk, and cheese. That was about for 5 years. It was a really great experience because that's where I built my experience, my career. So that's kind of like my expertise style of product. And so when I took the sabbatical, my goal was to kind of pick up where I left off. You know, when you have a 1 year gap in your career, employers are like, "Hey, what's going on here?" And it's hard to like pick up where you left off. And fortunately, I've been able to do that. And I'm currently working with a food company. But like I said earlier, like nearly every sort of company in all aspects of consumer goods require this sort of profession. So it's pretty wide. But my particular expertise is with perishable, like short shelf life product.
Yeah, which I assume will be more difficult to manage.
Um, it has its nuances, and even if you deal with long shelf life product, you feel like you have more flexibility, but you probably don't, because you still have longer lead times, and especially in this day and age where supply chains are quite complex and your companies are sourcing materials globally, lead times are quite unique to certain products. And with short shelf life products, you have to be able to make really quick decisions. So in that aspect, it can be very challenging, because you might not have all the information to make a decision, and you just have to go with that.
Yeah. And so let's move on to your sabbatical. Why and when did you take it?
So I I have been working. So I'm 35 now, and I went into uni, high school, uni, then straight to into the career like workforce. And since I've been in Australia, it's an entirely different mindset as to work-life balance, which really kind of changed my mind, or not changed my opened my view on career and work-life balance. And so I never. So for instance, I don't know if you know what a gap year is. I'd never heard of the term. A gap year is kind of in between
Oh,
university and yeah.
got
So, as an American, like we have a strong work ethic. And so like you're just expected to go to work and go, build your career and all that, which I have, but it kind of, it's not all about that. There's more to life than just work. And, yeah, my experience in Australia kind of showed me that. And so, yeah, I did started doing a little bit of research. I've always been interested in travel and different cultures
mhm.
and just unique places in the world and to visit places. So yeah, I wanted to explore the world. And I wanted to volunteer as well. Like I was kind of, stuck, not stuck, but like in the rat race where you like just you're going to work and like you're doing great things but there just feels like there's more to it. And yeah, so kind of decided with my fiance and she was kind of feeling the same. So this was back in about June 2018, where we were kind of avid travelers, but always like on long weekends or like at whatever holidays we had or vacation time we had, we just like utilized it. But it's not the same as like doing long-term travel because you can really kind of feel the local community. So yeah, I just wanted to commit to that, and so we set up a plan to save because you need money to save, you need money to travel. So we saved a lot of money. We had a goal, and we ended up saving money. I was talking to my employer that this is kind of what I wanted to do, and they were on board for to allow it to happen. But as I got closer to the time frame that I provided, things kind of changed. Unfortunately, like the company was still for it, but the things changed in the marketplace, and basically they went up for sale, and it was kind of like, we can't do this, we can't hold this liability. So they wanted to offer me. They said you can take the time off, but there's no guarantee that the job's going to be there when you come back.
Right.
So, which was understandable, but it was a risk I had to take. And instead, what I just decided is I will resign and I'll take a leap of faith and hope that something comes back in the when we're done. And so in April 2019, I left my work and decided, and so we had a whole game plan of where we were going to go, what we were going to do, and yeah, that kind of brings us to where I'm at now. So I've been traveled for just under a year, 11 months. So
Amazing. And what has your experience been like? Where all have you been?
it's been amazing. I spent time in India, I've met a lot of people. I spent nearly 4 months in India, which was amazing. I so if I'll just briefly go over. So I started in Taiwan. We were going to go to Sri Lanka originally, but the terrorist attack happened around Easter
Mhm.
2019. So that was our first place to go, and we kind of decided we still wanted to go, so we put it at the back end, and then we went to Taiwan instead. And it was a last minute change, and I'm so stoked that I went there. Anyone who's interested in going to an amazing place that is so like just lovely people and low key, like there's not too many tourists there. It's a beautiful place, like easy to get around. Um, the, the infrastructure is quite impressive, despite like no one thinks of Taiwan as being like this amazing place, but it's so underrated and it's relatively affordable. I highly recommend it. So we were there for nearly a month, and then we went to China for 5 days. Then Russia. I always wanted to do the Trans-Siberian Railway, so we did that through Russia, which was amazing. But we went from east to west. Most people go west to east.
Okay.
So we went through Siberia, which was stunning. Lake Baikal you have to go there. It's just beautiful. And then we got across into St. Petersburg. So we did like Moscow, St. Petersburg. And then we went down Eastern Europe. So Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, um, uh, Bulgaria, Greece. I have a good friend that's from Greece, so I spent time there with his family. And all the while, like we're doing volunteering and like doing what's called uh, it's it's like volunteering your time, and you get like accommodation and like food. And you like usually it's like projects or like farmers, and you just donate your labor and your time, and then you share like in the local community, which is really great. Um, so we did that, and then we kind of my fiance Leah, she went to India to do a yoga course, and then I went up north to India to do like Mumbai, Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, which all of that was fantastic. I really loved it, and Leah really loved her yoga course, and and then we went to Nepal, Sri Lanka, and then we fell in love with India, and we initially was only going to be like 4 weeks, but then we went back again, and we like changed our course. So you have to be quite flexible. You have to be like just follow like your instincts and what you're just loving. And so yeah, we changed things up, and we said no, we're going to go back to India. We did. For another 3 weeks. I did a Vipassana meditation course, which was just amazing. It's so hard, but I highly recommend it. Then I did like a stay at I did a yoga retreat in it's drawn on. Sorry, I can't remember now. I did a yoga. It was in Uttarakhand, the big city where everyone goes. I forgot. I did one there that was amazing, right on the Ganges. Yeah, so everything was great. We were going to go back to India one more time, but then COVID-19 happened, and so it just kind of threw a corkscrew and everything in the works. But yeah, so then yeah.
That sounds beautiful. I mean, and you guys maintain the blog, the page that you're live through. I noticed, I think it's a blog that you'll maintain. So please tell us more about the blog and what you'll cover in it.
Yeah. So it's at One Fine Year Blog on Instagram. We did a web page, but because like it's one of those things that like we kind of were like thinking, oh, we'll try to do the digital nomad thing, but it's so like you can't. This is my view. It's so hard to do that and enjoy yourself because like there's just so much beauty around you, and it's hard to just be stuck to a laptop. And I'm not the biggest techie, like so. We kind of had to park that. We developed it. We just haven't put content on it yet, with the intent that we're going to go back and do it now that we're back into the workforce. But yeah, we utilized our Instagram page to tell the stories of our experiences. So the different volunteering that we did, telling the story of all the people that we met. We were amazed at how many how people open up their homes. Like we did couch surfing in Russia. Like everyone thinks of Russians as being like very cold and hard people and not friendly, but it was the opposite. They're the most loving and generous people. One of the most generous that we met. Like we were just treated like kings there. It was amazing. And then so we captured all this stuff. We told the stories of the people we met, because that was, for us, it wasn't like we didn't want to do a website or all this stuff where like you're promoting stuff. It was just like, no, we just want to tell things as they are, and the things we experienced. So there's like a few things some challenges that we shared, and there's always, it's not all bright side and sugar coated stuff. It's like there's traveling for a long extended period of time takes a toll, but it teaches you to be versatile, to be resilient, and to just roll with the punches. So we try to capture that in that blog that we maintained on Instagram, and we intend more so my fiance Leah, which hopefully you guys can meet her in the future. She's going to be working on the blog on the website. She's a nutritionist, so her kind of thing was, how can I learn about these cultures? Because like there's Indians, for example, like there's a lot of home remedies. There's a lot of like natural foods that are just amazing and so healthy. Like the use of turmeric in nearly everything. Turmeric is such a good nutritional has such nutritional content that's good for you. It minimizes inflammation and all this sort of stuff. So she wants to work on that. So that's coming in the future. But yeah. So we've just been maintaining and telling our stories through Instagram. So
Awesome. We're looking forward to it. And I forgot my question.
So I can kind of tell you how COVID-19 changed everything. We were gonna travel for a bit longer. Like I said, we're gonna go to India for a third time, and we were in Nepal, and this is early March, and that's when things started getting serious, and like the travel restrictions started becoming more apparent. I was in a Vipassana course, so I had no access to phone or communication. And someone's making a quote here.
Yeah, please ask the question.
Something. Apart from volunteering, what are some of the other activities that you engage in into your travel? Something that was unplanned. Well, I wasn't really planning to do Vipassana, and I just heard when you meet a lot of people, and then they tell you, hey, go do this, or hey, how long are you here for? And you get people share a lot of what they've done, and one of the things that I kept hearing was Vipassana, and I had a friend who had done it. He also took a career break, and he had told me about it, and I was intrigued. I'm always up for challenges, especially like mental challenges. And he's just like, it's not for everyone. So anyways, that was one of the things that was not I didn't even know what it was. And then, I did a little bit more research, and, I signed up. It's an amazing thing. What else? I might come back to that. I'll just go back to the COVID thing. So we were in Nepal, and we had about one more month to go in India, and then like India restricted travel, like they closed their borders, so we're like, oh, we can't go to India now, so change of plans. So then we had like a plan to go from India to Turkey, so that we can go meet our friend in Greece, because we had one of our bags there, right, with clothes and important stuff, and then go to the UK and then back to the US. Because the end destination was the U.S. So then we're like, okay, we'll stay in Nepal for a little bit longer. Then we find out that the UK, or said that the U.S. had blocked UK entry. So then we had to like change our flights and do all this last minute. And then we were like, well, do we go back to Australia or do we go to the U.S.? And one of the deciding factors. So my fiance is Australian. That's why we're thinking about like, do we go back to her family or my family? Well, one of the deciding factors for the U.S. is I didn't want to personally. I didn't want to get stuck outside of the U.S. because my family's health. My father is not doing. He has cancer, and I didn't want any complications to, like when you're away, you have to. 2 weeks of where you have to be apart from your family as you, I forgot what the terminology is, but like you have to intubate to make sure that you don't have anything. And if you have COVID, self-isolate. So I didn't want that, if there's an emergency, So we ended up deciding, okay, let's go to the US. So we booked a flight, and we couldn't go through the UK, so we had to change everything and go through Hong Kong and go the other side of the world to California. So, which was a month earlier than we anticipated. So, which, it's a bit of a bummer, but it's not the biggest thing. Like there's a lot more, I mean, for example, you guys, there's a lot more people suffering because of all this than just someone having to change their travel plans. So it was like, it is what it is. That's fine. We get to a safe place. And, yeah, so that's how it changed. But I've met many people that had to stay in Nepal like longer. They're still there, actually. They haven't left. So it just, yeah, it's completely changed everything, obviously. So, yeah.
Yeah. And thank you for the save, by the way. And
Oh, no worries.
so, what I'm sure you must have had some amazing, memorable stories that will just stick with you like till the end of time. So, if you could share one such story with us.
Yeah. So, okay, so we were in Siberia on Lake Baikal. There's an island. I forgot the name of the island, but the lake is huge. It's the biggest lake. It's the deepest freshwater lake in the world, and it's just massive. And it has an island that is stunning. It has like a lot of like the rock formations. There's a lot of energy there. So a lot of like naturists and hippie-like people go there. And so we decided to go there, and it's about 30 kilometers in width. So like from the east to the west across the island. And so my fiance and I decided to backpack and camp on. We wanted to hike from the west to the east, and then because the east is like just there's nothing there. It's just very isolated and just beautiful. There's no buildings, nothing. So we're like, let's do it, right? So then we go and we start hiking. Number one, we get kind of lost because it's just like a forest. And I was using not Google Maps, but similar to Google Maps. That's really good for offline maps. And it wasn't working. The GPS just stopped working, and so we got stuck there. And so I had to reroute all the way back to the beginning. And then eventually we got to the end, and it took us like 8 hours, and I was carrying like 30 kilos on my back, and so we're going through forest, and it's very sketchy. Like, you start thinking of like horror movies, where you just see trees and like there was a cabin in the woods, and it was like, you start thinking that like, oh, did I just see a person? Because you see so many trees and you just start imagining things. So that was a bit creepy, but it's just in your head, right? It was perfectly safe and beautiful. So then we got across the island to make our set up camp. And so we set up camp, and it was really cold. So we got the fire going, and then we were on the lake, right, literally on the lake shore. And there's just like fog rolling in. It was so serene and quiet. You could just hear birds like chirping so anyways, we were just like getting the fire going, warming up because it was cold. And then we had dinner, and it was just stunning. Then the next morning, we just enjoyed, like the fog burned away, and it was just beautifully sunny. And there was like, so we just had it to ourselves. We were isolated. And then like a family came in a minivan, and we just like said hi to them. They were just visiting, and they left. So we're like, oh, okay, well, people come out here. That's good. So then about 4 hours later, around the afternoon, we were in our tent, and we just hear like this like big industrial vehicle coming. And we're like, this is kind of weird. Like, we're just supposed to be here by ourselves. And then like I can hear it kind of going over this little ravine and then coming across to us, and it parked like literally on our doorstep of our tent. And we're like, whoa, what's going on? Then I hear like this big heavy metal door open and then slam. And I'm like, oh, I'm kind of creeped out here. What's going on? And these two guys come out, and they're wearing like, big heavy coats. And like, I'm thinking, oh, maybe they're Rangers, or maybe they're the mafia. Maybe, I don't know. Just, I'm hoping they're Rangers, And so then they don't speak English. They're just speaking Russian. And I'm like, oh no, I can't, like, we're trying to communicate, and they don't look very friendly. They look a bit hostile. Like I'm getting this feeling like we need to leave. And so there's one of the guys is like young, and he does know a little bit of English. And so basically he's a translator for us, and we're Rangers. And The young guy was saying, "You need to leave. You need to pack everything up and leave." And I was like, "We just got here." He's like, "Yeah, you're not supposed to be here." None of the signs said like no entry. Well, we didn't really see any signs, but he's like, "You need to leave." And we're just like, I was trying to like lighten up the situation, not have them get mad. And so yeah, so I was just kind of like, we just hiked 30 kilometers, and we were really worn out, and just our feet were like blistered and all this stuff. My back was sore, and so I was trying to say, hey, can we stay just tonight, and then we'll leave tomorrow? They're like, no. And then I was like, okay. So then he's like, you need to pack now. So we packed everything up. It was the quickest we've ever like broken camp and set and packed up. We did it in like 15 minutes. Normally it takes like an hour. And so then like, as I'm saying this, as I'm doing this, I'm like, is it possible to like take us with you, because they were just waiting for us. And they're like, look, what we'll do is we'll take you halfway to this certain point. There's water there. So at least you can camp where there's water, because it was going to be a really hot day. And so we're like, okay. And so we ride with them, and the young guy, he's a university student, biology student, and he's like really into nature. He had like long hair and just, and he's sitting next to me, and he comes out with a big knife, and
Oh,
he's like, you see it? Yeah, you see this? I use this for wolves and for dogs. And I was like, what? And like, it's just like, why are you showing me this sharp knife, you stranger, But he actually was like super nice. And they dropped us off. And so then like we set up camp, and there wasn't any water nearby. Like there was like a little creek, but it was dried out. So it's like, okay. And then, we set up, we have dinner. And then it's dusk. The sun is already set, and we just start to play cards. Because that's what you do when you're out in the middle of nowhere. You just play cards. We didn't have signal to download any videos or anything. So, and we hear like this howling, like a wolf howling. We're like, whoa, what's going on? And then I like kind of open the tent door, and like I just hear like this rustling, like this hard rustling, like something's running towards our tent. And I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh my God. And I try to shine my torch on it, whatever it is. And I kind of see it. It's like this big thing running towards me. And as it gets closer, it's the guy with his long hair, and he's like running at us. And I was like, oh, he's like, hey, and, I'm trying to like, what is this? I'm like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? He's like, hey, how you doing? And he's like, do you mind if I join you? And we're like, yeah, sure. He's just like, yeah, I'm just out. He's a biology student, and also like a nature ecology student. So he's like trying to understand, like he's following if there's any wolves around. He's tracking them, right? And he was staying out that night, and he was going to camp. So he came back just to make sure we were okay, but then also just was telling us what he was doing. So anyways, he comes in, and like he brings out the knife again, and I'm like, okay. We end up playing cards. We show him the game that we were playing, and then he showed us a game, and then yeah, so like it just your mind starts running, but like people are really good. People in general have good hearts, and they're good natured people, and you just have to let things go sometimes, and just like let it flow, and like not put up a wall and just be like, because yeah, so it just reminded us like, okay, it was an awesome experience. The guy, like, he told us about like the wolves nearby and all that. Like they weren't nearby, but like how they move and stuff, just to watch out for. And he ended up, he didn't have a torch, he didn't have a flashlight. So we ended up giving him a flashlight, and he was so thankful, and like sent us all these messages and stuff. And he ended up like camping, like further on. And like he didn't have a tent. Like this guy just like he had a sleeping bag and like a cover, and this is what he was doing like as a student to study the movement of the local fauna. So it was just a funny experience. Like it's like whoa, yeah.
what a story. And I'm sure since you traveled a lot, you must have taken away a lot as well. Like you must have learned something that you can apply to your life now. So
Yes. Yeah.
is there anything with that you would like to share?
Um, Yeah, I think just for anyone who's interested in doing this, I've met a lot of Indians, and they're I'm amazed at how hard, not amazed like as in shocked. It's like wow, you guys are such hard workers. You have such strong work ethics, and it reminds me of like Americans. Like we work hard, you know. But my only suggestion, and life's short, and let's not there's more to things than just work. And especially like I've met a lot of Indians like you guys work so hard and you do make time for things, but you like I met people who work 6, 7 days, you know, like a week, and they travel as soon as like I met guys that were traveling as soon as Friday hit, like Friday 8 p.m. They go on their motorcycle. They do a road trip from Delhi to Uttarakhand. Then they come back on Sunday night and they go to work. That's awesome. Keep doing that, but like make time, like take time off. I know it's hard. Like people are trying to protect their jobs, but I think the world is changing and that employers, it might hit India a little bit later, but I know the US is starting to do this. Australia is definitely do it, but like as long as you add value and you are dedicated to your work over time, companies are becoming more flexible. So really push that and be clear of what you want because there is a lot more out there than just your career. You know, like family is also very important. And you know, sometimes like we had to buckle down and save and we cut things out. So we've become like not minimalist full on, but like for instance, I buy secondhand things because you know I've kind of turned a little bit against not against consumerism, but I just don't do it as much. You know, people can do whatever they want, but I want to make a change in my life, and I feel much more like things shouldn't be so like complicated and wrapped up on just you know belongings. You know, there's more to stuff than that, and so
Mhm.
yeah, I suppose you know things if as long as you have a goal in mind you can make it happen, you know. And for us it was saving and traveling, and we've learned a lot from it, and like now we carry like India in particular, you guys are so resourceful. Like I was in villages and you know the tools for example, you repair them, you use them until like they literally are broken to shreds, you know. That's amazing. Like the West has to learn from that because we right now we something's like doesn't look nice and we throw it away. It's like no, come on, like let's use it until it can't be used. So that's what I learned, and I promote that, and I think people should consider that a little bit more. So yeah.
I'll ask a couple of questions before we quickly wrap up since I know you're at your job. So, what is next for you? What plans do you have, maybe regarding your career or your travel plans?
Well, to immediately is so kind of pick my career up from where I left it off. So I've been fortunate. I've been able to do that. Now it's like now I got to hit the ground running. Hopefully ease into it, but you know, so career, and then for my fiance, she's in the U.S. She's never really lived here, so like making it kind of smooth and easy for her to adapt. And then kind of, you know, we're thinking about starting a family, so that's coming next. So it's going to be a busy and eventful year. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Take it day by day, but with long-term plans.
Amazing. And finally, if you could tell our viewers, uh, if they want to get in touch with you, know more about your work and your travel, so where can they do that and how can they do that?
Yeah, I'm quite easy to reach. So you can reach me at the Instagram One Fine Year blog, and we have the website that we're going to be working on. So it's onefineyear.net. And just yeah, I suppose the best way is just send us a message, or yeah, that's fine. Like you know, I love meeting new people and having conversations and learning from people. So and if I can share any of my experiences further, I'd love to do that.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, Freddie, especially for taking time out of your job at right now and joining us and sharing your story with us. It's been amazing listening to you, and it's been a pleasure meeting you. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys taking the time to want to learn about my experience and our experience with my fiance. And all the best to you guys, and we'll keep in touch.
Sure. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
All right. Bye.